everyone, hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to round things out in a big way with this guy. It is the Studio Series 86 Slug, or Slag if you prefer the G1 name. And this guy, I guess Daniel, because he's in the box, you know, I guess we'll look at Daniel. Any way you cut it, Daniel, and this big boy will be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all my social media links, all of that, man, down in the description below. If you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is Studio Series 86 Slug. I'm going to call him Slag because that's the way I know this dinobot named, and that's the name he will forever be for me. But on the box, they went with Slug again. I don't like that. But it is what it is. The Daniel is, again, a throwaway. We'll look at it, but it's like the wheelie that came with Grimlock. It ain't good, man. It ain't good. Now, this guy I've heard so many mixed things on. People tend to either love this guy or hate this guy. And some people have talked about a couple of breakage issues, namely around the shoulder area. We'll see what that's all about. So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And in an unexpected surprise, we're taking a look today at Studio Series 86 Slug, or Slag if you will. I'm probably going to call the guy Slag, and Daniel. This is the second of the Dinobots. I've only seen one of him in my neck of the woods as of this recording, and I had a pre-order in that isn't due until October the 1st, but I happened to find this guy somewhere else, so of course I picked him up. I wasn't sure how I felt about him, but I gotta say I'm pretty glad I got him, but we'll get to that in a minute because we gotta look at the packaging first. Of course, we have our boy here in his like Triceratops dino mode, and we have little Daniel up there. Same over here. You can actually see Daniel's face inside of his exosuit up there, which is kind of neat. Over here we have Slag again and Daniel again, and then on the back, naturally, we have all of the product images that we're so used to seeing. And inside said package we have, of course, the display base. I think this is supposed to be the Decepticon space bridge. I feel like I heard somebody say. I don't know how much truth is to that, but I did feel like I heard somebody say that. So if you want, you can take Slug or Slag and you can put him in there. He's almost too big for it. You can see Daniel on his shoulder. Not gonna lie, the Daniel is not the standout star of this set in the least. He also comes with this here bunch of instructions. And this nicely molded and painted blaster, very reminiscent of his G1. It's molded in gray. It's painted in a lighter gray, an off-white, if you will. It's an interesting color. Now, it's unfortunate that he doesn't come with a sword, but you know what? This is pretty nice anyway. Now let's get the elephant in the room out of the way right away. The Daniel that comes with this is pretty much just like the wheelie that came with Grimlock. The legs are stuck in a static pose. The arms do have some mobility to them, but not a lot. We'll get to it in a second. Right here, he's next to the Masterpiece Spike, or Daniel, depends on if you got the Japanese Masterpiece or the North American. For me, I would like to use the MP version as Spike, and I would like to have a sensible pair of legs and use the other version as Daniel, both in their exosuits. It'd be cool if the other exosuit was a little more simplified and a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to take the MP out of it. What articulation is there for Daniel here? The arms, they can go up and down. The actual, like, shoulders and whatnot, they don't really move. So you are somewhat limited. They can kind of work on a ball joint there a bit. there is no waist. The legs can go forward, back like that. You know, he can get in a running pose. If you want him to transform, I mean, no, you could do that, I guess. I mean, he does have little tires under his forearms, and his knees are kind of right. This is right. No, this. They didn't need to include this. They should have put a sword in. This is trash. And now finally we come to the big boy. Earlier in the display we saw that he does have peg holes on his shoulders. There's a peg on the, like, I guess the thigh, we'll call it, of Daniel. A little peg right there on Daniel. It allows him to sit on the shoulder just like we had with Wheelie before on Grimlock. We know he can hold his blaster just fine as well, so no issues with either of that. Speaking of Grimlock, just cause here they are next to one another, yeah, they look good. I still feel like this is big for the Dinobots, but the more that I've gone back and revisited some G1, and the more I see these guys next to some of my other characters, the more I'm like, you know what, maybe this is right. I was fine with the Power of the Primes, and then I was fine with the Black Mamba. And as always, when I get a new representation of a character and I'm trying to decide, you know, which I'm going to keep, I defer to my wife, because Starscream wife is pretty adept and has a kind of a good knack for knowing which ones are good, which ones are the best, which ones to keep and whatnot. So I actually showed her the Studio Series next to my Black Mamba, which is basically a Voyager class. And she said this one is a little heftier, but she said, honestly, she said this one has the same sort of chunk and heft as Grimlock, and he's bigger, he's just better. Yeah, the Studio Series one wins. And I see it. I think both of these are good for the record. I don't think there's really a bad choice here, but they're good for different reasons. This one, obviously more stylized. The Studio Series one, extremely G1. Certainly extremely G1 animation, which for a guy like me is exactly what I'm going for. Let's kind of talk about scores in terms of the paint apps. Going from the toes up, the toes should be gold, the lower leg should be that dark gray. Then we do have blue and green on the knees. We do have a lighter gray on the thigh. The entire kind of hip and pelvis and torso region and the shoulders here, all that is supposed to be red. This section's supposed to be gray. This is supposed to be a lighter gray with an Autobot symbol. The head is red like it's supposed to be with blue eyes. Even inside here, it's supposed to be a grayish color. Really. The horns stick out on the side, the wings stick out on the side as they are supposed to. The hands are like a gunmetal gray, almost a black, and inside the circle up on his shoulder, also like a gray, almost black. 10. It's perfect. There's nothing even here for me to touch up on the guy. Same in Dino mode, as you'll see, there's nothing to touch up on the guy. Already a 10. What about the articulation for the guy? Well, the articulation has a head that can go left, and it can go right, and it can look down, and it can look up a little bit. Then we get to the shoulders. Now, a lot of people have broken these off. I don't know if they're trying to twist them or what, but there's a very clear hinge that shows you can only put it up and down. According to the instructions, it's supposed to be down. The shoulders here, I've also heard of people breaking them. I don't know how, but they're on beautiful ratchet, man, all the way around. I love it. Out to the side all the way. We have a bicep swivel. We have an elbow well over 90 degrees. We have wrist rotation. So, yeah, absolutely dig it. And the hands are even painted. Then we come to the waist, and we do have a waist, somewhat hindered by the tail here, but you can get that out of the way if you really want, and you can go all the way around. I mean, you know, it's doable. Let's put it that way. The legs all the way out to the side, no problem. They can go back on a ratchet, forward on a ratchet, thigh swivel. very deep knee. I mean, over 90 degrees. Again, on ratchets no less. And super deep ankle tilt. Articulation does literally everything that I could want it to do. I'm going to say that the articulation is also a 10. By the way, just so you're aware, this guy really does pretty much clock in at what an actual leader class offering should be. Leader class offering traditionally has come in somewhere between 315, 325 grams of plastic. Grimlock with everything in was definitely a leader, if not a little bit more. I think he clocked in at 333 grams of plastic. This guy clocks in with all of his kind of bits and pieces included here. He clocks in at 311. Still definitely in the ballpark of being an actual legitimate leader class offering. Okay, let's get into the transformation, which I think is actually pretty brilliant. Now, it has worked like butter for me so far. However, there is one section where you have to kind of tab, I guess, an armature that the tail is on between the knees, basically. I'm willing to bet that that's going to be a nuisance trying to do it on camera, but in hand, it's easy to do. We begin by bringing these arms forward. Rotate the wrist around and push the hand in. Rotate the wrist around, push the hand in. Then I bring back the head and I come up here and I bring down the chest. I bring the bottom jaw up and collapse the robot head in there because it'll become like part of his like dino mouth basically. Now, there are a couple of, I guess, noteworthy hinges here. One, bring up the shoulder pieces. Then each of these shoulders are on, I'm saying shoulders, chest pieces I guess, are on like a double hinge. You want to collapse them in. One of the harder sections of the transformation, but still not hard. If I can do it now. There, we bring both of those in. Then we just match up his frill here, I guess, and that tabs in just fine. And then this whole chest piece comes back up over the front just fine. That's the upper body, really done. Then we come back here, and if it hasn't come off already, you untab. There's two little tabs back here and two little notches right here. You can take that off and you can kind of elongate all of this on the back for now. Typically, I have this guy down straight and I kind of throw all of this up over his back, so that's kind of what we'll do here now. Then we can rotate the waist around. We can open that out and bring the ankle out, and then that allows us, or should allow us, to be able to rotate that leg out, bring this down, bring this ankle back up. With this leg down, we should be able to, if I can do it now, there, open out and open out a foot. On the other side, we do the same thing. We bring this piece back, we open that out, we bring out, you might have to finagle it ever so slightly to get it out of past. We bring this down and tab it in and bring that foot back up and tab it in, and then we come here and open all of that out. Again, I'm going to try and leave all of that sort of up over for now. Okay, next, we basically take the entire hip and knee and bring it all the way up to the body. And we can bring this down on the side as well for now. We bring it all the way up on the body as tight as we can really get it. And there should be a red nub here on the top. That's really inside of his knee. Bring all of that up as well and bring all of this in. Bring this leg, this dinosaur leg down. Bring all of this in. And now he's sort of, kind of, able to stand up, but not quite yet, because we don't have the back end here solidified. At this point, to kind of get everything nice and, I guess, positioned correctly on the back, we need to bring this back On this gray armature up here, there are two little rectangular tabs right there. Inside the knee, there's a little rectangular slot. Those tabs need to sandwich in that slot. This is the part where there may be a cut here because it can be, I'm not going to say it can be a nuisance, but it's definitely going to be a nuisance to try and do it on camera, I think. Got one side in. Didn't get it. I'm going to do a cut and get that in. Okay, pardon the cut. Let me just kind of explain to you exactly what it is that you're doing here and the easiest way to do it. Again, just with the distance that I am from the guy here now, it's just a nuisance to try and line stuff up on camera. Off camera, it's a cinch. I promise. Down here, what I do, I should say, I can't say what works for you, but what works for me is I tab the feet. There's little tiny notches here on the red and little tiny tabs on the feet. Tab the feet in first. Then this gray armature here that the tail is attached to, I bring it down between and squeeze both sides in. I have yet to have that strategy fail me. Then we bring those two sections down over, and then these just come down on the side. And they should, if you got everything lined up, they should tab in just fine, no problem at all. And the last piece of the puzzle is to take the blaster, and up under the tail here, there's actually a slot, and you put that in to give him his tail in the end. And really, if I just kind of angle these things a little bit, boom, in the end, here we have Slug or Slag in his dino mode. Though I don't have one handy at the moment, I just want to note that there is a spot in right there to put a blast effect. This is technically the back of his head. Like, this lower jaw piece does go down when we fold the lower jaw away, and his robot head is up above it, so his robot head is kind of in the roof of his dino mouth. And that's it, that's all that's to it. Honestly, though I did have to make that cut just because it's not an easy thing to do on camera with the tabs, it's not hard. This is a great transformation. It really is. I'm giving the transformation a solid 9.5. I don't understand for the life of me how people have broken stuff. I don't get it. I don't see a way to do it. The only thing I can figure is that if you don't have these like fringes untabbed when you go back to robot mode, they may possibly break off, I guess. I can't really see how it would happen because you should untab these and then push this head back a little bit so that it's out of the way. But otherwise, I think it's a tremendous, tremendous transformation, a tremendous, tremendous offering. Overall score for the guy. We had a 10 for his look, we had a 10 for his articulation, we have a 9.5, I'm saying, for his transformation. Overall, the guy's about a 9.75. It is another absolute knockout of a success in the Studio Series 86 Dinobot line. A lot of times, I kind of call Hasbro on a lot of things, but when it comes to doing these guys, bravo to them, they've done a tremendous job. And here we are once again, and here he is once again as well. Look, the look of this guy is tremendous. Starscream wife, when she first saw pictures of him, said, I don't know, he doesn't look as good as Grimlock. But once she saw him in hand, she was like, yeah, he's the way to go for sure. He was big, he was hefty, she liked it, and she said it looks like Slag, whatever. The backpack is there. I feel like on camera it's more egregious than it seems to be in hand. It's fine in hand, to be honest with you. The issues of breakage, I don't get it. What are you doing? I don't understand. I've heard people say that these break off. It's one hinge. It flips up like this or back like this. I'm not sure how you're breaking it. Some people have mentioned the shoulders. I guess there's a ratchet there. I guess if you do something to break the ratchet, maybe. But it seems pretty solid to me. I think, personally, this is another absolute success that I was not expecting in the Dinobot line. I said a long time ago that the Black Mamba set was good enough, but these guys, so far, between Grimlock and this guy, 242. I am very impressed, and they are indeed true blue leaders. This is when Hasbro does something right. This is when a Transformer is done right. Let me know what you think about this guy, and I guess Daniel. I think everybody thinks the same thing about Daniel. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube to become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.